do we have here?
Well, we got a Wells Fargo Strongbox and some antique ball and chain.
Okay.
Interesting find right here in the shop today. This looks promising. Strong boxes like this were the gold standard for transport security in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Wells Fargo and Company commissioned them to ride shotgun on stagecoaches and early railroads, carrying cash, documents, and small valuables between frontier outposts. They date from roughly the 1860s, after which more modern safes and bank vaults took over.
Ball and chain right here actually comes from the human prison. It's the oldest prison in the state of Arizona.
Here we go again, with Rick being both a history buff and an encyclopedia in one. Let's go back to the 19th century. Yuma Prison is nicknamed the Hellhole for its brutal desert climate, primitive cells, and the fact that prisoners literally helped build their own stone, and iron cell houses under 120 degrees Fahrenheit sun. It was in operation back in 1876 up until the early 1900s.
Hey guys, they were not a nice place to be, but if you went to jail, that's where you went. They didn't have that many back then. Back in the day, a ball and chain kept prisoners from making a break for it. Dragging a big hunk of iron around would do that.
That's right, old man. Arizona's first territorial legislature mandated road building by convicts. Yuma inmates toiled under armed guards hauling rock and laying railroad ties across the desert. The whole point of the ball and chain is restraint to prevent escape, especially on chain. Gang details maintaining nearby roads and rail lines.
And my other big concern, never in the history of any prison did they ever have their name put on the balls.
Would you look at that? Turns out Rick is beginning to have doubts regarding this purchase. In the 1800s, blacksmiths heated individual chain links in a coal or charcoal forge until red hot, then butted the link ends together and hammered them on an anvil to weld. Each link was handcrafted and hammered shut. Much later, factories used electric currents, allowing mass production of uniform, stronger chains.
This stuff was not inside the box. I actually just bought it all and I put it in the box.
All right, so that makes a lot more sense. This makes me feel a lot better about the box.
Well, what do we have here then? A real box full of fake stuff? Let's see how that one goes. These Wells Fargo strong boxes were typically made of oak for its toughness. Over that, heavy gauge steel straps and cast iron corner brackets were put into place, creating a serious barrier against prying or blunt impact. These boxes really were the real deal for storage. Once assembled, the box was coated in a dark lacquer, usually glossy black or deep forest green, then stenciled by hand.
I just don't see me getting that kind of money out of it. I see me getting $600 maybe.
I'd like to at least get $500 for it.
I'll meet you in the middle at $450.
All right.
Rick, evidently allergic to expert advice, is yammering away about numbers without so much as an expert's odd. He kicks things off with a bargain, basement offer, and has already shrugged off the ball and chain entirely. Yet he's perfectly happy to roll the dice and potentially kiss nearly $500 goodbye on this wild card deal. Classic Rick, turning a simple purchase into a high-stakes gamble. What a guy.
Rick called me down today to look at a Wells Fargo Strongbox he just bought. These things are rare. They're wonderful pieces. I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to see this.
Oh, would you look at that? Rick finally drags in an expert. What a comical twist. He only thinks to do it after he's already handed over his cash for that Strongbox. And get this, from a seller who'd already tried to palm off outrageously bogus items. The knockoffs were so laughable that even Rick, hardly an expert, could see right through the trash. Seriously, what then possessed him to buy from someone with such a sketchy history? It's about as sensible as lighting your money on fire.
First things first, have you already bought this?
That sounds bad. I've already bought it.
I don't have good news for you. This is a complete fantasy piece. It's a complete fake.
Damn it, Rick.
Wow, wow, wow. The expert concluded it is fake. Surprise, surprise, right? Even a bat saw that coming. And would you believe it? This particular Wells Fargo Strongbox has become the poster child for phony antiques. Practically everyone and their grandma has tried to flog one of these counterfeits. Who knew Rick would be the last to figure out it's a total sham? Again, what a guy.
You know, I was looking at it, it's put together so well. I mean, we have cast iron handles, the hardware looks good, it's riveted in there.
Yeah, it's a well-made box. There's no question about that.
Hey, how you doing? I have a coin I think you might be interested in. What do you got here? It's a Shekele of Tyre, like from the Bible.
Ah yes, the infamous Shekele of Tyre. This is Rick's next can't-miss opportunity that somehow still manages to miss. Look at how Rick came from the back to interrupt something that should have been Chumley's deal. Also note that Chumley was about to successfully turn the customer away before Rick let his greed win. Back to the coin, these bad boys date back to around 125 BCE, struck on the Phoenician island of Tyre to pay temple taxes in Jerusalem.
Coin that is collectible because it's, from Jerusalem. It's from the time of Christ. Supposedly, Judas received 30 pieces of silver to basically drop a dime on Jesus.
Isn't that just interesting? The 30 pieces of silver that Judas Iscariot received for betraying Jesus aren't named explicitly in the gospel accounts, but most scholars agree they were most likely Tyrian shekels, or coins struck to the same standard. That means any large transaction tied to Jewish religious authorities, like paying Judas to deliver Jesus, would almost certainly have been conducted in Tyrian shekels.
The Shekele of Tyre was a really common coin a couple thousand years ago in the Middle East, but there aren't many left.
Oh well. So although we can't hold up a single surviving coin and say this is the one, every piece of evidence, from religious regulations to prophetic illusion, lines up to make the Tyrian shekel the very same silver that changed hands on that fateful night. Imagine Rick had a way to find out if this coin was among the lucky 30. Oh boy, would this baby be worth a fortune?
Even the most skilled guy with that hammer was never going to get a perfect strike every time. That's why you'll see like this edge is off center. They're all off center a little bit. No two are identical.
Each coin weighs about 14 grams, which is a Tyrian shekel standard, and measures roughly 25 millimeters in diameter. Minting was done by hammering hand-cut flans between engraved dies, producing slight variations from batch to batch and making each surviving example subtly unique. This is really wholesome compared to the modern-day coin where everything looks, feels, and is absolutely the exact same.
Now the big question is how much you want for it.
$2,000.
What do you think, chum? Will you take 14?
I can't do 1,400.
Oh no, a cleaned coin? Even more suspicious. Modern forgers use castings or acid-cleaned silver blanks to mimic original weight. Popular red flags to spot a fake coin are soft, rounded details instead of the crisp, hammer strike relief. A fake coin may also have a uniform, bright silver finish, whereas ancient coins always develop a warm hue. In addition, tool marks around the rim would be on a fake coin, where modern cutoffs tried to shave off weight.
How about 1,750?
1,500?
I could do 16.
Yeah, 1,600.
Deal.
Okay.
Oh, here we go yet again. Look at Rick trying to close another deal without an expert. With respect to prices, genuinely struck Tyrian shekels in good condition will get about $3,000 to $8,000 at auction. Authenticity and rarity greatly affect price too. Most surviving coins show a smooth surface and minor edge nicks from circulation, which actually add to their authenticity. All this talk about authenticity is enough to make one think about how much authenticity we're dealing with in the shop today. Oh yeah, absolutely none.
What are you going to do, test it for Jesus DNA?
I make a good buy on an ancient coin, and around here, for some reason, I have to defend myself.
Oh, Rick, can you really point fingers at anyone else here? You just forked over nearly $2,000 on a whim. No expert opinion, no acid test, not even a quick Google image search. Honestly, everyone watching from their couches is cringing so hard they need neck braces. Come on, who skips the one rule of Pawn Stars 101 and then wonders why everyone in the shop is holding beef against them? Give your head a shake, Rick. Seriously.
I'm willing to bet I'm going to make a pretty decent profit on this. Hopefully, that will shut them up.
Well, the price don't sound bad.
Oh, and let's not forget the part where Rick thought, nah, who needs a second opinion when I've got my gut? His gut must be upset, because it clearly didn't warn him this was a disaster in the making. It's almost impressive how he managed to overlook the one thing that separates a savvy dealer from a guy rummaging through flea market junk.
An out-of-town detective has called Las Vegas police. The shekel that you recently brought in, there's a chance it might be stolen. They want to put it on hold.
Well, would you look at that? Our prized Tyrian shekel wasn't just a forgery risk, it's straight up stolen property. Now Rick's not only staring down a massive loss, he's also on the hook for harboring hot loot. The LAPD's already circling, ready to confiscate the coin faster than you can say Rick Harrison.
Damn it, Rick, you can be more careful on what you buy.
Well, how am I supposed to be more careful? This guy legitimately bought it from a different guy.
Oh, now Rick's really between a rock and a hard place. He's already shipped that hot shekel off to grading, so if the LAPD swoops in, he's out the coin and out whatever he paid for expert grading fees. It's a double whammy. Lose the stolen artifact to the detectives and bleed more cash on top of the original purchase price. And get this, if Chumley or Corey had pulled a stunt this spectacularly boneheaded, Rick would literally end them.
Luckily for us, the coin was insured and the insurance company paid for the loss. So that makes the coin free and clear. A book signed by Shoeless Joe Jackson.
It's actually signed by him.
Right.
This is absolutely incredible.
Back in August 1908, Joseph "Shoeless Joe" Jackson made his first appearance in the big leagues with the Philadelphia Athletics. Over the course of his career, he maintained an eye-popping .356 batting average, still one of the top 4 in MLB history. He later played for the Cleveland Naps, which eventually became the Indians, and wrapped up his time in professional baseball with the Chicago White Sox in 1920. Interestingly, Jackson never learned to read or write, so his wife often had to sign documents on his behalf.
7 other guys on the 1919 Chicago White Sox took money to fix the World Series. They were all acquitted in a court of law.
Unbelievable, right? But 100% legit. Despite being tangled in controversy, Jackson absolutely dominated during the 1919 World Series, leading both teams in total hits and even setting a then record with 12 base knocks. Still, that didn't save him. He was swept up in the infamous Black Sox scandal, where 8 players from the White Sox were charged with rigging the series for gamblers. And even though Jackson's individual performance was stellar, he was banned from the game for life after the 1920 season.
I found the book. I saw what appear to be 2 signatures. The first one isn't very legible, and then the second one is clearly different than the first one.
That's not even the start of it. Joe Jackson was born on July 16, 1887 in Pickens County, South Carolina. By the time he was 6, he was already clocking long hours at a textile mill. Growing up in extreme poverty meant school wasn't an option. He spent his childhood working instead of learning to read or write. That rough start in life explains why authentic signatures from Jackson are so rare today. He simply didn't have the ability to write his own name.
Jackson signed by his wife. He was embarrassed how bad his handwriting was on the only thing he could write, so that's why you never saw it.
Oh, Rick, come on now. This is Pawn Stars 101. We all know the golden rule. Never take a seller's word for it. You call in an expert, ask questions, verify. But nope, Rick is clearly riding the excitement train and decides to skip the basics. He jumps straight into the deal, ignoring every instinct a seasoned pawnbroker should have. I mean, who gambles on a potentially priceless autograph without getting it authenticated first? That's not guts. That's asking for regret.
I'd like to get like $30,000 for the book.
Not gonna happen.
Wait, only 12? That's wild. Once upon a time, the thinking was that maybe 40 to 50 legit Shoeless Joe Jackson signatures were still out there, mostly tucked away in private collections or at the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum in Greenville, South Carolina. But experts have since narrowed that estimate way down. Today, only about a dozen fully authenticated signatures are known to exist, making any new discovery a jaw-dropping rarity and a massive deal for collectors.
It's just not a signature. It's on a book about the dark side of sports. I mean, that has to bring something to the table.
Rick, are you even listening to yourself? He literally admits he doesn't even know who signed the so-called certificate of authenticity. Yet he's still thinking about buying it? Sir, this is not a mystery box on eBay. Proper authentication isn't guesswork. It takes detailed provenance research, forensic analysis of ink and paper, and careful comparisons with confirmed samples. So why, Rick, are you treating it like a gut, feel bargain bin score?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, deal, man.
Great.
Oh, of course he goes through with it. Because why not drop $13,000 on something probably fake, right? Sure, that kind of cash would be pocket change if it were the real deal. But spoiler alert, it's not. For context, a single signed photo of Shoeless Joe from 1911, yep, just one, sold at auction for a staggering $1.47 million in 2021. It actually became the most expensive sports photo ever sold. That's a high price at an I can't believe it's not fraud level of shocking.
I'll meet you right up front. We'll do some paperwork.
Okay.
13 grand is a lot of money, but a once-in-a-lifetime piece like this, I think it's definitely worth the gamble.
This signature is real. This is by far one of the craziest things you brought to me.
All right, well, I paid $13,000 for it.
Oh.
Whoops, just take a look at the expression on Rebecca's face. It's super obvious from that second that this woman knows deep down that it's not a real signature. Remind me again why Rick went on to pay a crazy $13,000 for something that was completely unverified. Come on, we all know that Rick knows everything about a lot of things, but there are experts available for a reason. This is the reason.
It looks like a pretty normal A, and then the K here goes straight into an O, whereas this, the K, he tries to do the loop. I'm not convinced that it's real, but it is so rare and so controversial.
That's it right there. Now there you have it. No need to sugarcoat anything for Rick. What this man needs right now is someone giving him the cold, hard truth. Looks like Rebecca is doing that just nicely, considering that he has just been lied to by a customer and lost $13,000 $10,000 bucks. Poor guy. We all know that if Chumley or Corey pulled this stunt, Rick would definitely squeeze the 13 grand out of them.
So it's not real.
Well, no, I'm going to send it off some more people. I'm going to try and get a consensus on this thing.
You realize that could be like one of the biggest hits we've ever had around here. Let me see. Several factors became apparent during our thorough examination that prevented us from certifying the autographs, which means it's fake.
I have a customer in the store with a painting that he says is painted by Rene Magritte. This thing actually might be real.
And once again, Rick finds himself in an art world wallet. Drainer. This time, the culprit is a painting supposedly created by none other than Rene Magritte. You know, the Magritte, surrealist legend and king of eyebrow-raising imagery. His quirky, mind-bending style has inspired everything from album covers to TV branding, and his work still shows up in top-tier exhibitions around the globe. So naturally, Rick's eyes light up at the thought of scoring a masterpiece again.
You know, it's the 20s in the Paris. This is the place to be. He hooks up with Picasso. At that point, he's not doing very well at all.
Surprisingly, this wild story checks out. Believe it or not, Magritte really did dabble in some less than legal creative projects during the post-war slump. Between 1947 and 1948, strapped for cash, he teamed up with his brother Paul and friend Marcel Marien to paint fake works in the styles of Picasso, Braque, and de Chirico. Oh, and just to round things out, they even forged 100-franc notes and sold them on the black market like they were limited edition prints. So yes, the man who painted floating apples also printed fake money. Iconic behavior, really.
It looks very good. This is a very early painting. You can tell just by the smoke damage that's on it. Very typical of that time, everybody smoked.
Yep, sounds about right. See, real smoke residue from aged artwork, complete with layers of soot, grime, and chemically altered varnish, is a nightmare for modern forgers to mimic. This painting is practically yelling, "I'm a Magritte." It's got all the signature vibes. The flat, no-nonsense style, those bold, cartoonish outlines, and that eerie sense of calm chaos Magritte was known for.
You have to take it unframed to Belgium, but you have to get the authentication.
This one's not only a gamble, it's an Olympic-level risk thanks to growing demand and a whole lot of fake Magrittes floating around. The Fondation Rene Magritte set up an official authentication committee back in 2000. It's the ultimate gatekeeper. They decide whether a painting is the real deal or just wishful thinking. To apply, you'll need all your documentation, nerves of steel, and 700 euros just to have them look at it. That fee purely for admin and expert eyeballs. No guarantees attached.
One state of being, it's worth nothing. The other state of being, this is a $700,000–800,000 painting.
Yikes. Money down, but possibly nothing to show for it. It all comes down to Rick's next move. Will he hand over the cash or walk away before things get messy? Spoiler, he buys it. Double spoiler, it turns into a financial sinkhole. Sure, art can be a solid investment, especially if it's genuine. But in this case, while the price could go up, the million-dollar question remains, is it even real?
Or I will spend all my money, I'll take it to Belgium, I'll do everything for it if it turns out it's real.
Wait, did that just happen? Rick moves fast, too fast. In a blink, he's throwing caution to the wind and putting his full faith in this mysterious painting. Deep down, he knows the truth. This could be a masterpiece or a magnificent mistake. And to make matters even sketchier, the seller takes the $10,000 way too eagerly. If that canvas was truly worth $400,000, wouldn't you hold out for the bigger payday?
By the Magritte committee, they've come up with a decision. They've told me I can come and pick it up, along with the paperwork saying whether it's real or fake.
Now, the artwork is halfway across the world, all the way to Belgium, on its way to the only people who can make or break this deal, the official Magritte Authentication Committee. Their verdict will decide it all. Is Rick about to score the art deal of a lifetime, or did he just pay a fortune for fancy wall decor with zero pedigree? The stakes? Sky high. Because in the world of fine art, a single signature, or lack thereof, can mean the difference between wild celebration and cold, bitter regret.
No.
What do you mean you don't know?
There was like a clerk in there, and I showed him my ID. They handed me this. They handed me a letter.
And there it is. According to Artsy, when the Magritte committee rejects a piece, they don't sugarcoat it. No note, no certificate, no gold seal, just a polite return, and the deafening silence of rejection. That's exactly the message Rick receives. He shipped his $10,000 gamble across the ocean, and now it's back in his hands with nothing to show for it. No art legacy, no payoff, just a pricey reminder reminder that seasoned pros too can fall for a pretty picture. Wasted 10 grand on the picture and even more money to make this trip.
It sucks losing $10,000, but it's been a great ride. And in my business, you got to take risks sometimes. I took a risk.